Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, back with a card for my Halloween series, even though it's not technically Halloween, but you could make it Halloween by using Halloween sentiment, whatever floats your boat. I thought I'd include it with the series because it's kind of fun to just mix and match and use what you have. So these cards are for last week's Color Throwdown Challenge, which I'm behind on as usual. Anyway, I was really inspired by the card that AmyR did for the color challenge, and I will link to it in my blog post because, yeah, she made these black flowers, like die cut black flowers, and put them on her card, and I was like, oh, love. It just got the wheels turning, and I was like, oh, I have the perfect die set for that, which is, of course, the Honeybee Lovely Layers Coneflower set that I've done many videos on. I will link to my playlist using the Lovely Layers wafer die sets because there's tons of them. I'll have that linked at the end, as well as the link to the current playlist for this year's Halloween series. So I started off with the Coneflower wafer dies, and I was die cutting black cardstock for all of the petal pieces. And I'm using my Spellbinders Platinum 6 and the new platform system that I showed in a haul video last month. People have been asking about it. I've used it multiple times with like embossing folders. I have die cut with it, but this is like showing it on camera. Love it. Seriously. The little shim that you add to the platform, everything, like it cuts like butter. I've never had a problem with my Platinum 6 or my Platinum, either one. But I can tell the difference. I noticed more, there was definitely more pressure because there's like a little bit of a raised area in the center. Yeah, love it. That's my very technical overview, you know. So anywho, I did all of my die cutting. So I sat and just die cut. I was only going to make one card, but then once I started, I was like, might as well make a couple. I've got, everything sitting here. Why not? So I did all of my die cutting, especially when I'm filming videos, did it all and then moved my die cut machine out of the way. And then it's a matter of adhering everything, which is super simple. I don't know how well y'all can see it on camera because I'm layering, layers of black cardstock, but I've shown in other videos. And also, especially this set, but all the Lovely Layer sets, they come together so ridiculously easy. It's just nuts. And Honeybee also provides like graphics with step-by-steps and all the things. Trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It just comes together. It's really obvious. Once you have the die cut pieces laying in front of you and you start stacking them largest to smallest, it's just done. So that's what I did. I stacked all the layers together. I cut the centers from brown cardstock, the leaves from green. That was the challenge. It was brown, black, green, and white. And again, I never would have thought of florals. It wouldn't have been something I would have reached for. And then I saw her card and I was like, oh, how brilliant. Love it. And I really like these die cut in black. So I sat and stacked all of them together. So I had the 4 florals, I die cut all the leaves, and then my sentiment is the thanks buzzword, which I think I used the last time I used this Coneflower wafer die. It's one of my faves. I was going to do maybe happy Halloween, that would work too. It would work fine, but this kind of keeps it a little more open-ended. And it ends up just looking fun. Like you wouldn't think Halloween. Either one though, These would also look really great if you did them in, like I did already a video doing, purple and orange florals. That would look amazing with these. Do one in purple cardstock, do one in orange, or both, whatever. Love. So I used the thanks buzzword and I die cut that from just the same brown cardstock. And then stacked 3 layers together for the dimension that I love. And then I ended up die cutting the outline from VELLUM and adhering that. And then the background, I ran through the machine with the Honeybee Swirling Leaves Pierced A2 cover plate. And I'll show that more at the end, like when I show close up, because I'm not sure how well it's showing on camera. I die cut ran white cardstock through with that. So did the piercing detail. And then I cut that down with one of the rectangle wafer dies that you see there on screen. And then I'm just holding that background in place like over my card front to kind of give me just a visual guide of how much I have around the borders, the margins, so I can adhere all my leaves and florals. because I'm going to add splatter. And I wanted to do that separately from the card base. It just depends on my mood. Sometimes, you know, I adhere everything to the card, throw the whole card in my splat box, splatter it all. It doesn't matter. Again, just depends on my mood. But I adhered everything to that background, stuck these in my splat box, and then of course, this is what makes it Halloween, is black splatter. So it doesn't matter what you're making. Make any card. You want to make it Halloween, just throw some black splatter on it and call it a day. Anyway, I splattered black soot distress paint over these with my little fan brush, and always make sure to wash off your fan brush, whatever brush you're using, etc. when you're using distress paints, any acrylic paint really, because it'll harden in your brush and wreck it. So set those backgrounds aside to dry, and then my card bases on the inside, I'm stamping sentiments from the inside, Thankful Sentiments stamp set, and I am stamping the one sentiment with Simon's Perfection Positively Saturated ink. And then I'm going to stamp another sentiment from that same set with Mocha Positively Saturated ink. And I'm just using my acrylic blocks and my grid mat, eyeballing it. Sometimes I feel comfortable doing that. Other times I absolutely have to use, you know, my Misty and grid sheets and everything. It just depends on my mood and how confident I'm feeling. But with ones like that too, I don't mind doing it because it's like, if I mess it up, I'll just stamp it on scraps, die cut it because there are coordinating wafer dies, and adhere those over top, and you would never know. So there's always ways around it. And then, so now my splatter's dry. My sentiment, you know, it was stacked, adhered to vellum. And I was gonna just like trim down, you know, really thin strips of foam tape to hide behind the sentiment to give it a bit of dimension. And then I was like, why bother with that when I can just die cut scraps of white cardstock? And that's what I did. So I die cut scraps. I'm adhering them together. This way I can adhere these directly behind the sentiment, and no adhesive is going to show through because like liquid adhesive does show when I flip that thanks over. You'll see it shows through the vellum. So this way I can hide it directly behind the thanks word. You won't see it through the vellum. And then this way I can adhere this to the background, and it will adhere with that bit of dimension. It'll adhere over the flower petals because those already have dimension from the layers. So got that adhered into place. And then once that's done, I'm going to put adhesive again on the back of it. And then just a tiny little bit of adhesive behind the die cut on the vellum there, that little exposed bit, because that's what's going over the flower petals. And this is what keeps the sentiment sort of flat but raised up. So got that adhered into place, and then did the same thing with the second card front. And then I'm going to adhere this to my card base. These are both top folding A2 cards, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. To also give you an idea how big this Coneflower wafer die is, because they take up a lot of space on a standard size card, which again, I love it. So got those adhered into place. And then I pulled out this is the MIDAS Touch Aqua Shimmer pen. I always use the clear like glitter gloss one. That's the one you guys see me use in like a bajillion videos, and I'm obsessed with it. I've had this one for years. I've used it a few times. It just, again, it depends on my mood and what I'm going for. This one is a gold glitter. The Aqua Shimmer pen that I always use, the clear one, is obviously like clear with like, I wouldn't even call it silver. It's almost like a shimmery, you know. I've shown it in a bunch of videos. But this one is gold, and it's really pretty too. So it just depends on what you're going for. So I chose this one to just kind of enhance the brown, and I just painted that over these die cuts, and I will show at the end. I'll put my flashlight on so you guys can see the glitter. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This one's a little more obvious than the other, the clear glitter gloss Aqua Shimmer pen, because again, gold, but whatever floats your boat, you know, whatever look you're going for. So either one would work. The clear one would have looked fabulous too. I just happened to remember that I had this one. So painted that on the sentiments, and then I added, of course, some bling. I have the Trinity Stamps bronzed brown pearls that I've used in several videos lately. Really love these. So sprinkled those throughout both of these cards, adhered them into place with craft tacky glue. I'm going to pair these cards with some metallic green leaf envelopes from Simon, just to, you know, give it a little something. And then once that was complete, these cards are finished. So I can show you guys the close-up so you can kind of see some of that detail. again, it's difficult to capture some of this on camera. I don't know. My camera skills suck sometimes. But anywho, got that pierced little background and the black splatter and then the shimmery gold sparkle on the sentiment. It's so fun. And I love how the black soot distress paint, you can see it on top of the black petals because, you know, it's got that little bit of a shiny finish. So it's just that little extra something, you know. So like I mentioned, I will link to everything. I'll have links to the playlists at the end of this video. I will have a link to my blog post directly below this video in the description box. In the blog post, I'll have the color throwdown info. I'll link to Amy's Amy Rolls card that inspired this, so you can check that out. I'll have a supply list. I'll link to all of that, so you can just check that out in the description box below the video if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.